Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon, and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. And as always, thank you for all your support, including sharing, chatting, liking, and subscribing. Now roll that famous logo animation! Good evening and welcome back to Computerized Start Live. I am your host, Justin D. Morgan. And yes, I was running a little bit late tonight for no other reason than I had to psych myself up to stream. Some days harder than others, and today it was just because it's been so rainy for like the past 2 days, and I didn't sleep well last night because it rained really hard last night, so kind of had to psych myself up, and still had to take the trash out too. So yeah, Thursday evening stuff and all that. So let's see here. Who is in the chat that put up with me delaying the stream? We have Frank S. Hi, Frank. We have Thomas Armstrong. Eep. We have Sad Mac 356. Hi, Sad Mac. We have Dave's Vintage Apple Tech. Hi, Dave. We have Got Bomb. Hi, Jason. We have... Ooh, the chat wants to run away from me. We have Jesse, I8386SX. Hi, Jesse. We have Francois. Hi, Francois. All right, well, I do have the September tip jar still going. It's, well, feeling a little low for the end of the month, but links in the description. And as always, I'm glad you're here. And we have Jeremy's Vintage Hillbilly Shack. Hi, Jeremy. And we have RoboChow1. It says, hello, I see computer, I click. Yes, we will get to the computer momentarily, because there are a few segments we need to get through first. And the first segment is things you all have sent me. Pay no attention to the boxes below this one. I'm, for some reason, running out of space to the sides to set things. Probably because I need to remove a pile of stuff. Anyway, so this box here comes from Ron's Computer Videos. I do not know what is in it. All I know is that it was like at the beginning of the week or this past weekend, Ron sends me a picture of the shipping label. And it arrived yesterday, and Ron pinged me today to make sure I got it. So I don't know what's in it. It could be a box full of googly eyes, but that would be Tom Barber's thing. But I think Ron did see Tom Barber, so I will get my Captain James T. Kirk inspired yell ready. And as always, I've got the boxes upside down for protection of the innocent, or guilty as the case may be. And we have pink packing material. Wow, Ron, if you're out there lurking, you did a good job color match. So A plus for color match. And let's see here, we have something in bubble wrap and something in foam. Alright, let's see what we got here. Well, let me do the bubble wrap first, because I kind of see what it is. And we have an ATX Breakout Adapter V2. Ooh, very nice. Gutbomb says that's JLC PCB bubble wrap and foam. And we have, oh, very nice. We have a remote battery 1. And another remote battery 1. Oh, very awesome goodies from Ron's Computer Videos. I do know if you are interested in these, not a sponsored plug, but you can order these from jcm-1.com. Just look for the section for Ron's Computer Video. So, very nice. Thank you, Ron. I actually can make use of these. Like, soon. Very soon. So awesome. All right. Might give me a clue as to what might be in here. Oh, wait a minute. Where's the standard guess in the chat when you need it? I see something here. Gutbomb's laughing. I think Gutbomb might have an idea what this is. Oh, all right. Gutbomb says try to guess what it is. Frank says Trident cards. Dave says Trident. We have, oh, looky here. We have, Visa Local Bus card. And it is, a Trident Visa Local Bus video card. Thank you, Ron. Ron knows I have a thing somehow for Trident video cards. And I kind of suspect this came from VCF Midwest. Looks like the edge connectors will need cleaned. Which I'll need to order some deoxit because I'm like nearly out. So, anyways, thank you, Ron, for the remote batteries, the ATX breakout, and the Trident video card. I will put them all to good use. Gutbomb says, I can't believe it dented the foam. Yes. Well played there, Gutbomb. Frank says, yay, woot woot. And Dave's laughing. All right. So, now we have the segment that I was on the fence as to whether I was going to do it or not. See, hi, Rudy, welcome. And Jeremy says, I have an affinity for tridents. Yes, that is very true. And we have Sorcerer Stan. Hi, Stan, asking, is this where all the trident cards go to die? Yeah, could be, because it's certainly not Adrian's basement. And Frank, I think, has correctly guessed that it is time for the Wheel of Egrets. Yes, it could be time for Wheel of Egrets.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our favorite segment, Wheel of Regrets. Here's your host, Justin D. Morgan.
Hey, who comes up with these titles anyway?
Jesse says he's building a big trident out of trident cards. Yeah, glad I'm muted there because I had a cough coming on, and then I laughed. I gotta figure out how to make OBS auto-mute while it's playing videos. And we have KMac Vintage. Hi, Will. Alright, so we have this first box here. This also arrived yesterday. I will not be testing this tonight because it would require me to drag too much out onto the bench. I will probably, who knows, maybe for Dave's stream, assuming he's streaming normal time this week, I might just save this for Dave's stream. I think I also need to replace my scalpel blade. It is, like, dreadfully dull. Yeah, I'll be replacing that sooner rather than later, because a dull blade is more dangerous than a sharp blade. Alright. Yes, Dave's confirming he is normal time. He was streaming rather late on Sunday. I wasn't able to make it. Alright, so as everyone probably has figured out by now, this is too small to be a Trident video card, which maybe will explain to you why I am not going to try to drag stuff out for this tonight. Well, I mean, maybe we can test it non-officially, but I'm not going to pull the computer out that this is for. It's a mini Trident, Frank says. Well, I mean, the item in this has been known to fail in spectacular ways, just like Trident cards like to fail for me. Jeremy says it's a 3.5-inch drive. Okay, you're going to have to be a bit more Guesses are going to have to be a bit more specific than that. Sorcerer's Scan says a duodent card. No, this is it's a wannabe trident, Dave says. It could be a wannabe trident. We have a zip drive, but not just any zip drive. It is a transparent graphite faceplate zip drive. Which can mean only one thing. This goes in a G4. Yeah. And not only that, this is the 250 megabyte version, so hopefully it's past the click of death stage, but that should tell you all you need to know right there. Yes, indeed. This is one that Apple would have shipped, because I think Apple is the only company that had iOmega make these with the transparent graphite faceplate. And, well, actually, I looked it up, got bombed, because I was pretty sure someone was going to ask or wonder. The G3s shipped with 100 megabyte drives. Up to the gigabit Ethernet, they also shipped with 100 megabyte drives. Once you got to the I think it was the digital audio or the Quicksilver. One of the two, that's when Apple started shipping 250 megabyte drives. I think that's just because of when they came out. But anyways, yeah. So the Mac this is going in, I don't think would have shipped with a 250 megabyte drive. But I grabbed this at a decent enough price. I was like, well, I'm not going for complete authenticity. I'm just going to get a zip drive that at least looks correct, even if it's a larger capacity. Because, yeah, I don't think you'll be able to tell. But, yeah, Gutbomb says, oh, yeah, mine is translucent black, but 100 megabytes. So, anyways, yeah, this is to go in my, I think it's the G4 AGP that I picked up at the System Source swap meet. Or, no, it wasn't the swap meet. It was a repair workshop. It was on the free pile. The zip drive that's in it is suffering from click of death. So I wanted to replace it with a drive that looked like it belonged. So I got a decent enough price on it. Now, I mean, if we wrap up early tonight, or I might plug this in the PC just to make sure it's not like click of deathing, but I'm not going to install it in the Mac tonight because that would take too long. So I'll set this to the side. All right, the next item on Wheel of Regrets. There are a total of 3 items, and I'm doing them in this order for a reason, because once you see what the third item is, you'll realize you might have seen the box before somewhere. Just maybe. Yeah, now everyone's going to be wondering, okay, where did we see the box before? Well, okay, so I might be crazy for buying this because I have had a pretty bad track record buying these on eBay, the place where I buy the things I later regret. It is unfortunately not a Trident card. Sorry. I figured that it probably looked a bit too big for that. I am also not going to test it immediately tonight. If we wrap up early, I might test it. But I found this lovely... Jeremy says it'll take a Trident card, though. Yes, it will take a Trident card. Disappointingly, I have a Cirrus Logic card for it, though. I picked up this lovely 386DX motherboard on eBay, the place where I buy things I later regret. Alright, now this one I'm actually going to take a quick peek at how much I paid for it. Oh, $50. Okay. So, it was $50. Ah, yeah, the zip drive was $26.99. The motherboard, $50. That I did notice that the board looked very clean, which was one reason I was willing to pay a little bit more than I otherwise like to get boards for, because it is very clean. The astute of you might have also noticed that you're having trouble identifying where the battery lies. Yes. You're probably thinking, okay, well, I don't see a horribly corroded green spot beside the keyboard connector. Don't see a horribly corroded green spot somewhere else on the board. Don't see a coin cell battery holder. I don't see a Dallas module. Justin, where's the battery? Well, the funny thing is, Ron probably didn't know it when he sent these to me, but I actually have a use case right here. I'll just have to get some jumper wires, because right there's the battery connector. It used an external battery from the factory. Yeah, Jesse's. Yep, some boards used external ones right away from the factory. So yes, this board is so clean, partly because there was no Varta battery to start leaking on it. It's also possible it was in a very clean environment. So anyways, Got Bombs asking, does it have real cache chips? Well, I believe those are actually real cache chips. I mean, I'm not... Yeah, they look real. They're not screaming fake. I think they're real cache chips, because let's take a look at the processor here. Notice who made this motherboard. Cache Incorporated. Got Bomb saying the fakes were soldered down usually, I think. Yeah, usually they were soldered down. I think I have seen them socketed. I think Bits and Bolts released a video. It would have been my overnight, probably his evening, because I think he's in he's in the Middle East somewhere. Anyways, Bits and Bolts released a video, and he got a board that it probably was fake cache, and it was socketed. So, oh, hey, 0.5, welcome. Anyways, it'd be quite ironic for Cache Incorporated to have sold a fake cache board. Although, if that was fake cache, I'd probably first blame someone chip swapping to make the board look more appealing on eBay. Anyways, I believe that's the original processor. That's another reason why I was willing to pay $50 for the board. Because, believe me, the plastic clip RAM sockets were a demerit point. But seeing the tamper warranty label still intact told me that this board should actually run at 40 megahertz. Because I have seen boards where someone put a faster processor in, thinking that that's all you had to do to get the faster speed. I don't think they necessarily did it maliciously. I believe they just didn't realize that you also have to change the oscillator. So it's kind of one of those, seeing this label on the processor told me that this chipset should support 40 megahertz. Because there are 386 chipsets out there that won't do 40 megahertz. Partly because Intel only went to 33 megahertz. So this is also probably a late 386 motherboard. But the fact that this label was here told me that I should be good to go, and I probably won't have any problems running this processor, because that's the original processor. Francois says, did you play Cash or hide and seek? Now, this is the other cool thing about this board. Although when I told RetroTech Chris that I'd bought this board, he was like, oh, well, you know, all the Mr. BIOSes are archived. Well, I think this board may have actually shipped with Mr. BIOS from the factory, and I kind of thought that was cool, too. Obviously, I will look to make sure there's not a later Mr. BIOS available on Vogons for this board, but I thought it was really cool that this appears to be an actual Mr. BIOS label. I mean, I think some of the later ones might have been a little fancier, but this is version 1.0, so this kind of tracks with being a possibly original Mr. BIOS label. So I thought that was really cool that this is a board that would have probably shipped with Mr. BIOS. Although, granted, Mr. BIOS did sell BIOS upgrades in computer catalogs back in the day, so this board could have been owned by someone who bought a Mr. BIOS upgrade for the board. That is also possible. So, it's not a guarantee that this board shipped with that, but Bomb says, I want a Mr. BIOS for my Dr. DOS. Yeah. Now, and luckily, okay, and, that might also help me debug another board. It's the version F keyboard controller. But anyways. Oh, Jeremy's pointing out, well, Jeremy, I still don't really like plastic clips, but you do have a good point that there's not it's not as fragile because these are, Jeremy is pointing out, and it didn't escape me. I mean, theoretically, these could get brittle too, although there's definitely more plastic here, so it would probably take a really long time for these to be brittle enough to break. But yeah, these are the type where you plug the RAM in 90 degrees and you pull it out 90 degrees. There's not a clip. You don't put it in 45 degrees and clip it in. These are like a straight insertion removal. So yes, to Jeremy's point, they're nowhere near as fragile because there's a substantial amount of plastic here. Well, I think there's... Well, actually, Well, I mean, there is a little... okay, I take that back. It does look like there is a little clip there. However, I think the way they clip in, given the fact it's like in and out, and I don't think you have to pull the clip back very far to pull it out. In fact, I think you just pull it out, because I think it's got a ramp on it. It's probably a little more resilient, but yeah. I would have preferred metal clips, because, although the thing is, metal clips can get bent out of place, so they're not perfect. But anyways, that's my latest 386 board in my quest to set up a 386 system that is not a PC Cheaps motherboard, because PC Cheaps just fails me when I least want it to. Like, when I want to play Jazz Jackrabbit. Also, the board has onboard I/O, so that's kind of cool. So despite the fact that it has 7 expansion slots instead of 8, it's actually quite nicely apportioned. It's got a floppy controller. There's the parallel. I'm pretty sure that's the parallel. There's IDE. It's got a game port built in. And there's our 2 serial ports. And there's the battery port. I need to bend. There's a pin that's been out of shape. But anyways. Yeah, I mean, so that's actually pretty nice. I would say if that works, if the controller's working, that's certainly worth the trade-off of a slot to get, like, all the multi-IO, including the game port that I'll have to disable because I'll put a sound card in it. But, well, actually, you know, probably going to put a PicoGus in it. So, actually, I probably will want the game port, because that way I could use a DB15 gamepad without too much trouble. So, anyways, there we go. That's the $50 motherboard, and I hope it works. It's certainly the cleanest 386 motherboard I've bought on eBay so far. 40 megahertz ceramic CPU. So, yeah, there we go. Yeah, Jeremy's pointing out the two... Well, Jeremy, there's actually 4 pins. And one of them is going to be... I think pin 1 is 5 volts, just looking at the trace. And pins 3 and 4 are going to be common, and they're probably connected together. This particular connector has all 4 pins. Now, some of the battery connectors, or battery terminals I've seen, there's actually a pin missing. This one, all 4 are there. Gutbomb's pointing out the PicoGus can use modern controllers plugged into the USB as an emulated device, game port device. Yes, I know. But must I emulate everything? Can I use a crummy gamepad once in a while so I have something to complain about? Like we did back in the day when we're like, I lost that game because this gamepad sucks. Tell me you didn't do that. Blame your losses on the gamepad. Alright! V-Borg. Hey, Tim. V-Borg says I emulate having friends. Aw. Yeah, Jesse's pointing out Jeremy's correct. Alright, well, this is not an eBay find, but it's on top of the last eBay item. So, I just wanted to kind of show this off to make you wonder what it might be. Jeremy probably already knows what it is. Alright. So, this box, I guess I also need to open upside down because my address is on the top. V-Borg says it's a box. Yeah, well, the reason I said that is Jeremy kind of tipped me off into a certain place having a certain thing. Now, that's not necessarily the one Jeremy told me about, but, well, his comment did tip me off that a certain place had a certain thing. Alright, so this last item is a box. I have turned it upside down to hide the address, but maybe I should before I completely remove all the tape. This lovely, lovely vintage tape. I should maybe... Okay, I really do need to change the blade in my knife. That thing is so dull. Let me find the other knife on my bench, because actually that blade is so dull, I am realizing it's actually quite dangerous. Gutbomb says, if there's a VIC-20 in there... If there's a VIC-20 in here, I am going to show you the eBay listing to show that I did not buy another VIC-20. And notice, I didn't even need to do any of that. Well, it's a VIC-0 because it's missing the VIC chip type deal. Francois says, save the tape. Well, unfortunately, the eBay seller put eBay tape over the vintage tape. So, it's kind of... Alright, let me maybe show it to you this way. It might be a little more recognizable. Have you seen this box somewhere, maybe? Maybe, like, on the thumbnail? Yes! Sadmax says, I swear it's full of DVDs. If this is full of DVDs, I am going to have grief with the eBay seller. If it has a VIC-20 in it, I am going to have a grief with the eBay seller. If this is a Russian doll-style box in a box in a box in a box in a box, I am going to have grief with the eBay seller. Viborg says it's full of eBay regrets. All right. Oh, okay. Well, let's see. That was on top of the box, and so was my packing slip. All right, so inside the box, we have another box. And now it is right side up. I hope it's not full of eBay regrets. So what is in this little box? I am hoping... Ah, there we go. It's the hardware. Yay! I've got the hardware box. All right. I also have... And we have the manual. Yay! Wait, who reads these? I do, because I'm silly and will make fun of all the mistakes in it. All right. We have, like, specs and stuff. And, ooh, cool. It can hold a floppy drive and a hard drive, apparently. And there's the instructions on how to put the backplane in it. And there we go. And cool. And there's the exploded diagram. There we go. And their mini product catalog about their power supplies. Yay! All right. Yeah, Jeremy says manuals. We don't need no stinking manuals. Yes, that is a folding box cutter from Lowe's, except it needs a new blade too. Apparently, I just need to have a replace all the blades party. We have a power cord. Yay! We have a random thing that feels metallic. Yay! I might have to look the manual to figure out where it goes. We have styrofoam packing materials. Yay! Yeah, computer parts. Yeah. Okay. If I'm reading this box right, it has the ACE 716A power supply in it. Although I think it's missing the backplane. I have been watching this auction for a while, and it... Jeremy says this is a BYOC kit. Bring your own computer. Build your own computer. No, this is a BYOIC kit. Build your own industrial computer. Look at this. This just screams industrial, doesn't it? All right, we have a power plug. We've got some case slots. I hope this thing has a power supply in it. Yep. Build your own computer, yeah. So for anyone wondering, this is not... This does not hold a full-size motherboard. Oh, hi, Christian Iverson. Welcome. Yeah, I think it is new old stock. In fact, at one point, my thumbnail did say NOS meets industrial, but then I decided Beige goes industrial was a bit better. Turn this into... No, this isn't going to be a NAS, Jeremy. There's like hardly any place to put enough hard drives. This is going to be a gaming industrial computer. Because there's actually... you can put 2 drives in it. Alright, and it does have the power supply in it, so that is good. It's 150 watts, but, well, that should work. Excellent. So it uses the P8, P9, and we have, yeah, we're not building a NAS out of this. Gutbump says the stream needs a 9 Inch Nails backing soundtrack. Well, if anyone's curious, I usually pick a song for the Instagram stream reminder. And, well, okay, I didn't do 9 Inch Nails. I did use Red, Feed the Machine. So that was this week's, or this stream's song to go behind the thumbnail. Gutbump says, I'm sorry, I can't imagine you listening to 9 Inch Nails. Well, probably absolutely breaking news. I've never listened to 9 Inch Nails knowingly. Yeah, it would get content ID like probably. You remember that old game show, Name That Tune? Where I guess at the end of the they'd bid on how many notes they could name the song as. Like, I can name that song in 9 notes. Well, I can name that song in 8 notes. Well, I think for 9 Inch Nails, Content ID will strike that song in like 3 notes. Or maybe 9 notes. Oh. 9 Inch Nails is actually really cool with copyright. Well, I wasn't going to attempt it. So, you're probably wondering what is in this box here. I'm surprised Jeremy didn't, like, guess, but... Oh, looky here. I could extend my warranty. Hi, Advantech. I would like to extend the warranty on the thing in my gaming industrial computer. And what is this? Yeah, yeah, Google's not cool with copyrights. This is a brand new Backplane. And I hope it fits. So, I was looking for backplanes on eBay, the place where I buy things I later regret. All the small backplanes on eBay go for crazy money. I'm sure if there's some that go for a bargain price, they get snapped up. The going price for like about a 7-slot backplane, 1, 2, 3, or 6-slot backplane, is like $80 to $100 on eBay, and that's for a used backplane. I got this backplane on Mauser, brand new, and it was $70. Now, you can do the math, and you will figure out that 70 is less than 80 to 100, and the fact that this is a new backplane, meaning this was made in like the past couple of years. I mean, I don't know that this was necessarily made this year. I'm looking for a date on it. I mean, it looks like the PCB was made week 23, or week 12 of last year. Unfortunately, there's no, like, semiconductors on here of any size that I can easily read a date code on. I was looking to see if I could maybe decode their serial number. Anyways, I think this was made within the last year. So, effectively, it's new. So, I don't have to worry about the capacitors on it. I don't have to worry about there being a busted slot. I don't have to worry about much of anything, because it's a brand new backplane. And the thing is, it's pretty much dead simple. It's a passive backplane. Which usually the 6-slot backplanes are passive because you don't have so many PCI slots that you need PCI to PCI bridge chips. It's got 3 PCI slots. It's got the ability to put the single board computer in one of 2 slots. Now, because this is a passive backplane, you can only put one single board computer in it unless you've got like a second one that is like not going to be a bus master. Yeah, and Thomas says, and it's under warranty. Yes. So anyways, I mean, you can see the traces on the board. You can see that pretty much the PCI signals route to the PCI slots. You can see a bunch of them go to the first slot, and then I'm sure they go inner layers at that point, or on top side as well. There's the ISA slots are pretty much probably all routed on the top layer. Yeah, brand new backplane. It was really not a hard decision to just buy a new backplane. Now, this case, I was going to look to see if I could find any hints of a date on it. Because I don't know. I am going to pull this power supply out, though, because there is a little bit of corrosion on the top side of it. And maybe we'll be able to see the date code on it. So let's pull the power supply out. Let's inspect it and just make sure it looks okay. Jeremy says 150 watts won't power enough cool stuff in that. Jeremy, this isn't supposed to be a everything in it computer. Remember, Jeremy, I have another enclosure that has like a 20 bazillion slot backplane. It's just the problem is the single board computer that goes in it needs recapped. That one uses standard ATX power supplies. That one I can cram all the cards I want to in it. It's just the problem is it's a proprietary enclosure, so it's only going to work with the vendor's equipment that it sold it. Alright, so it does look like there's a little bit of corrosion on the top of this. Also, Jeremy, if you look at the power supply, it looks like there's always the possibility that I could get another power supply. Because it looks like it's just a 4 voltage power supply that you screw in all the wires. To a point. I didn't intend this to be my powerhouse industrial computer. Okay, I'm looking in here to see if I see any REFA capacitors. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to remove the top. I think to remove the top, I only need to remove 4 screws. I could probably get a replacement arcade power supply, yeah. The thing is, for this computer, I really wanted it to be DOS. So right there, that limits what I can use with it. I was kind of thinking it would be for DOS gaming. Thomas says this power supply will be fine. Remember, this chassis can only support 2 drives, one of which was intended to be a floppy drive. I'm going to put a sound card in it. I was going to use the video that's on board the single board computer, because I've got some single board computers that have a very competent video chip in them. And it looks like I'm going to have to unscrew the terminal. So I'm going to opt to unscrew the AC terminals because there's only 3 of them. And then we'll inspect this. Yeah, the Pentium 4 single board computer that I have that goes in the proprietary chassis. And it's proprietary, not really in that... I mean, it's a chassis that uses the PICMG standard, but all the cables that go to the like buttons and whatnot on the front panel, they're all proprietary. So it'd be really hard to plug a different power supply into it. All right, so here's the power supply. It looks okay. It actually looks clean. I don't see any reefa capacitors in it. I don't see any leaking capacitors. I see a little blob of something here, but I think it's just glue. Whatever it is oh, yeah, it's the glue. Okay, they dribbled glue down this capacitor because it's the same color as the glue that's... Yeah, it's got some Gorilla Snot around some of the caps. I mean, it looks like it's okay. I don't really get an idea of when this was made, because I don't see any components that are large enough to read the date code without a magnifying glass. Oh, wait. Here's the X-Class cap. Let me see if it's got a date code on it. I might be able to read it. That's probably not a date code. 41. That's not a date code. That's a size. No. I think the date code's on the side I can't see. I'm just looking to see if I see anything that has a date code on it. There's a controller chip down here. Here we go. I can pull the microscope out. That chip right there, we can probably read the date code on it. There we go. All right, so I don't know what that chip is. Well, none of those look like date codes. Unless it's week 1 of 2000. Or week 37 of 2002? Well, I guess both of those are possible dates. Okay, well, those aren't date codes. All right, what about this chip? 0004, week 4 of 2000? Could this be a 20-year-old power supply? I don't think that's got a date code on the visible side. Well, at least the main caps are United Chemicon. Or Nippon Chemicon. Wait, that, Jeremy says, that's a heck of a part number. PC123. 12345. That's the combination of my matched luggage. Who used that as our part number? Okay, I could not tell you when that power supply was made. What I can tell you is that the fuse, there is a fuse. It's got a cover on it, probably to keep it from just simply coming out. I don't see any damage. And I guess as a sanity check, because there is some gorilla snot, as Jeremy's calling it, although it's not clear, so it kind of looks like silicon caulk to me. It's like, oh, we ran out of the correct stuff, so we're just going to use this tube of silicon caulk that we found in facilities because they were fixing something in the bathrooms. Okay, yeah, that works. Thomas Armstrong says, after 2000, it's a, I presume he means good design. Yeah, silicon works well. Alright. It kind of looks like silicon to me. But the important thing is that this does not appear to be conductive there. And, well, I guess there's some here. Let me test this little spot here. Yeah, I don't think it's conductive. So I think we're good. Christian says it's either a very expensive early one or more likely a late 2000s design or later. Too many transformers and filtering parts for a 90s early 2000 device. Yeah, I think you're right there. That is... It is definitely a higher end power supply or a later design. Unfortunately, I mean, I see a serial number on the power supply, but I can't tell from it if, or well, I thought there was a serial number on it. Maybe there's not. Oh, I got fooled. I thought there was a serial number on it, but it just looks like it's a... Oh, it was inside the power supply. That's right. I know it's upside down, but I kind of tethered. 1251644. So if the 00 is year number, I don't know if that might be 2000 week 12 or if it's just, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Although I could look on the instruction manual to see if there was a copyright date. Oh! Copyright August 1998. So maybe this was made in 2000. Maybe this is a very late 90s expensive power supply. Well, that's interesting. The efficiency is 75% typical. That's actually... It's actually pretty efficient. I think this might actually be a higher end power supply. So there's the specs. This is the 716A. So it kind of looks like it's kind of the lower end one, because it looks like the mean time between failures is a little lower than the other one. looks like the other two have a little more negative 12-volt current capability. But that's actually 75% efficient. That's actually probably pretty good. So I think I'm going to go for this. Was just given the fact that this is a power supply for an industrial computer, that they actually put some quality into it. So yeah, this will probably just work just fine. All right, so there we go. I knew there was a reason. Yeah, Christian says, "Dang, spared no expense." Yeah, I knew there was a reason I wanted this enclosure. I'd been watching it for probably at least 6 months. I was just waiting for either the price to come down or me to feel like paying their full asking price. But I guess it was like, 2 weekends ago, I noticed that they'd dropped the price to like $65 plus shipping. I mean, knowing it was a new old stock case is kind of why I was willing to pay a little more for it, because I suspected that it would have all the parts with it. Let me look. I think it was... No, oh, that's right. No, it was 50. They dropped the price to $55. Kind of going to go look at the... That was $20 shipping, but that's because they were... Well, actually, it was a rather heavy box. I mean, this thing is a substantial case, so... Probably a fair shipping price, given how much metal's in this case. Trying to look to see if I could see the revision history of this auction. I don't know if eBay lets you see the revision history. Oh, there we go. View all revisions. Ah, okay, so I can see the revisions they made, but I can't see what exactly they changed. So I think I started watching this. I think I found it around the time I last did my last single board computer stream. And it looks like they lowered the buy it now price in June, and I just happened to notice it. Thomas says, I rate cases by how bad the hernia is. Well, this case, if I accidentally dropped it on the floor, I would be worried for my toes. How's that for a durability rating? All right. So line is black, neutral's white, and ground is green. We're going to reattach these leads. I could go look at the shipping label to see what they weighed the box as, but I would say the weight was 99% the actual single board computer and 1% the cardboard box. No, it does not have a 7-segment display on the front, Jeremy. That was like the only thing it was missing. If it had had a 7-segment display on it, I probably would have paid a lot more for it because I would have bought it sooner. Because that would have just been like peak beige case days design. It'd been like, you don't want to let this thing get away. And that's probably why because it looks like the first time they dropped the price was in December of last year. And then they did it again in like February and March and May and June. Because I think when I started watching this thing, I think it might have been like $90. Which was a bit more than I wanted to pay for pay for it. Because the thing is, I still don't know if this backplane is going to fit. I would have probably paid the full $90 had it had a 7-segment display, because that would have been like peak 90s industrial design. So you could like show off to your coworkers how fast your industrial computer was. My manager let me buy the Pentium 233. Well, I only got the Pentium 166. Frowny face. Sad Max, like, for me, it's how much of a blood sacrifice does this demand? Well, unfortunately, there's no sharp edges on this one, so, Thomas Armstrong says, our industrial computer was a black box in a rack. Yeah, this is not going to be, most likely not going to be a Rutk Mods production, because there's not a lot of poorly placed sharp edges. Yeah, not even blinking lights. Yeah, there's some blinking lights on the front of this. It looks like it's got a reset switch, a power LED, and a hard drive LED. So at least I do get a few blinking lights. And it's got a fan, which will probably be noisy as all get out. Now, this is the thing I'm not sure about, and that is screw placement. Yeah, the lack of sharp edges is nice. The thing is, the case makers, for like business cases, they really did a good job. It was only consumers that they subjected to the sharp edges. Yeah, that's a slight problem. It looks like the only screws that are going to line up are... Oh, that's annoying. I've got 2 screws that line up. And it's that one and that one. Well, I guess that's what we're going to have to go with, because unfortunately... Alright, well, now this might be the... Okay, now this might be where this could turn into a regret that I'm going to have to find another backplane for it. And that is, are those standoffs screwed in, or are they press fit in from the bottom? Because if they're screwed in, then I can remove them and we're fine. But if they're pushed in from the bottom, unfortunately, given where some of them are, I would be afraid to try to insulate them, because there were because I think some of these standoffs were under where the PCI slots go all the way back. Yeah, I'm not worried about these, because if you look on the board, there's nothing that it could short to, so those are fine. Even I don't have to worry about removing them, because there is absolutely nothing that they could short to on the board. The top layer there is a full copper plane. There's no traces on the bottom, so that I don't have to worry about. It's this one here, and potentially the one behind it, because... Well, here, let me do this a little more scientifically, because I'm afraid the connector pins... Jeremy, I know I could try to cover them up with something non-conductive, but the thing is, if I got a dead battery in my calipers, I can't even figure out what I might be conflicting with. I can't flip it over. The backplane can only go in one way. Hold, please. I'm trying to fix the dead battery in my calipers so I can actually measure how far over the standoffs are from each other. My wonderful Harbor Freight calipers like to drain battery even while they're off. I'm pretty sure of it, even though I probably am crazy for thinking it. Oh, maybe you were saying to flip over the chassis. I can't. It looks like they're pressed in from the bottom. All right. So these are approximately 40 millimeters apart, center to center. Because that's the standoff that goes there. So, okay, so I could insulate that one, and I don't have any pins that could poke through and break the insulation. And then from there, okay, so that would be fine. Now, the next row, though, well, now if I break it out of the case, Jeremy, I can't use it for anything else. That's kind of why I was... Okay, so... Well, no, that's... It almost lines up. Yeah, that matches what I was saying. So it's like there. Unfortunately, I think this is where we run into it could poke through pins. Because, yeah, that's going to be the problem right there, because those pins there are going to be right over one of the standoffs I have to insulate. And those are... Oh, yeah, that would be 12 volts to the 12 volts to ground if that happened. That would not be good. Yeah. Missed it by that much. Thomas says drill or hammer. Well, I didn't want to make this case such that I couldn't put anything else in it. I also didn't really want... There's also the problem of... I placed the Mauser order before this case came in because of timing. I didn't know what the standoff spacing was on the case when I bought it, because it's not like there was any documentation on this case. So I didn't know whether or not this board would line up. And they don't. Capcom says insulate with tape. I don't want the pins to poke through the tape, because then we have voltage to ground. Because the thing is, that standoff is going to be under this connector, and that is like... I mean, granted, I was probably going to use this connector for the single board computer, but I'm going to have to press down tape on board and case. Jeremy says, I wonder if those holes in the backplane would line up in a normal ATX case. Well, now that's just crazy talk, Jeremy. Why would I want to put this in a standard ATX case? Gut bomb, I can't put foam under the board because then the cards won't. I can't engage the cards with the screw connectors on the case. This is not the Big Bad Biologist Big Bad Bench. I don't do jank very well. Well, Jeremy's got a point. Does this line up with the standard ATX case? Or an AT case for that matter, but I don't really want to waste an AT case on this. Let me see if I got an ATX case that's handy, and I guess we can see if it lines up. I'm looking. The studs are not. I don't think they're threaded. I think they're pushed in from the bottom. I am really not convinced they're threaded. If they are threaded, they are not put in. There's no like. I know, this is what I battle with when I do builds. I don't do... Thomas, I can't put a nut driver on them. There's no knurls. They're round. That's reason number one why I think they're pressed in from the bottom. Yeah, Jeremy's... They're press in. The nut parts on the bottom that got pressed in. I don't think there's even if I do this, and this is going to, yeah, there, that my Thomas says drill down till there is clearance. I don't really want to remove these standoffs because then I can't put another board in it. If I were to find the correct board. This is where I struggle because I don't really do extreme modifications really isn't my thing. Even if it is an industrial chassis. And quite honestly, I know you all probably see these and I have no idea what they're for because the hardware bag. Okay, what? Let me take a look at something here. There was a metal piece in the box that I'm not sure what it's for. Let's see what they were. Oh. Oh, that's neat. Okay, now I know what the holes on the bottom of the case are for. They're wall mounting brackets. Test it out of frame. I mean, we can, yeah, I mean, we can put the single board computer in the backplane with not in the chassis. I'll have to find my AT power supply. Of course, the thing is, we've tested some of the single board computers already. Alright, so we're going to set this to the side. I'm going to have to... Someone's either going to have to convince me to do something I don't normally do, or I'll have to find the backplane that actually was designed to fit in this chassis, or some middle ground thereof. I was sorry. Yeah, remember I bought the backplane before this chassis arrived because of timing when I needed to place the Mauser order. So there wasn't really time for me to... Alright, so we're going to set this aside. Yeah, it may have been designed for a rack mount box. It probably was. Okay, so the chassis I bought isn't going to fit the backplane I bought. Okay. So we'll set that to the side. I'll deal with that later. I know, I don't... It's not that I'm completely incapable of modifying things. I just have an aversion to it because if you modify something to fit something, then you make it harder to fit a more correct item inside of it. Yeah, this may be been designed for a rack mount box. It might have been designed for an ATX case. I don't know. Alright, so we have our backplane, which might be a little bit more difficult to use without the chassis, but we'll make do. And I think to make up for the disappointment that two items didn't fit, I'm kind of tempted to try this single board computer. Now, I know in a previous stream, I think I tried this one, and I don't remember if we actually got it to work or not. Other than this capacitor is definitely no longer making contact with the board. I don't remember if I got this one to work or not. I might have. I don't remember. Alright, I'll think about it, Jeremy. I still don't know how you modify it so it's somewhat reversible, but... Because I can't see how you modify it and you don't damage the paint. Alright. I know I haven't tried this single board computer. And if you're thinking that it looks a bit wonky on the end, you're right. It's because the seller bent the bracket so it would fit in the shipping package. Yeah, I wasn't too happy about that. So, I'll have to deal with that later. Clamp it in a vise or something, or hit it with a hammer. But anyways, that I will deal with later. So, this is a single board computer. I bought it on eBay, the place where I buy things I later regret. And I kind of regretted it as soon as I received it because of the hack job they used to put it in the package. This came from overseas, so I was still kind of disappointed because did they not think I was not going to use it? The other thing is they could have removed the bracket and like set it in the package and then they wouldn't have bent it. I don't know. I don't get some sellers. Probably from the same mindset of the sellers that ship an item new in box and then they slap a shipping label on the box thinking that you weren't going to collect the box. Yeah, probably. Hopefully I didn't just step on too many toes there. Anyways, this is a Socket 7 single board computer that I have not tested. I believe it's supposed to work. It does not have a processor on it. It did not come with a processor. It did not come with RAM. It does have onboard Cirrus Logic graphics. So it is the CLGD 5446, which I believe is a PCI graphics chipset. So the graphics should be somewhat decent. And it does look like it might have 2 megabytes of video memory. I believe this is the BIOS chip. I believe this would be for a disk on module, so I'm not worried the fact that this is missing. What is the Intel chip on it? It's the TX chipset, I believe. So it will not do... It's not a Super Socket 7, because I think it's the TX chipset. 82439 TX. This the part number is an SBC 8155. I'm pretty sure when I bought it that I at least located jumper settings. So, but yeah, I think it's I mean, it's definitely the TX chipset. So I should be able to install the first Socket 7 processor I find that's sitting in the box beside me. Ah, yes. I believe the jumpers settings are on the retro web. Here we go. All right. The quick start guide says, before turning on power, please make sure that all jumpers are on their default settings as listed in the table below. All right, so Jeremy says that might be a 200 megahertz max. Not sure though. Excellent for Windows 95 DOS gaming. Which one is that? Triton 2? I don't know which one it is. I don't know them by their nicknames. I do know that I think I have reasonably good past experiences with the TX chipset. The Intel TX chipset. Not those, like, rebranded chipsets that, like, Super TX and Awesome TX and all those other TX chipsets that were not the Intel TX. Those I could care less about. But, yeah, I think I remember reasonably good compatibility with the Intel TX chipset. So, didn't support AGP, but reasonably good compatibility and not a problematic chipset. So, overall, if I had to pick a Socket 7 chipset, and I had to, like, pick one, for socket 7, not super 7, but if it was socket 7, I had to pick a chipset, and I had to pick one that I knew was just a solid all-around performer, I would probably pick the TX chipset. So I just had to pick one sight unseen. Yeah. Jeremy says there were so many TX chips made that I thought they all came from Texas. Yeah. They came from Texas, Taiwan. No, I don't know if there is a Texas in Taiwan. There probably isn't, but anyways, so let me go through these jumpers. Whenever the manufacturer says make sure all the jumpers are on their default settings before powering up, I want to check them. Oh, okay, so I'm going to check to see. Oh, this is confusing. So it says check to make sure they're all at the default, but then it tells you, oh, these are the settings for the 133 megahertz CPU. Oh, wait. I think I've got a 133 megahertz CPU. Well, there we go. I'm going to just set this board for the default settings. I'll go grab my 133 megahertz CPU, and we'll do the initial power on test with that. Because that's a relatively easy chip to get another one should this board cook it. Because it's malfunctioning. Alright, so jumper 1 needs to be on 1 and 2. It is. Jumper 2 needs to be open for single voltage. It is not. Alright. Alright. Jumper 3 is core voltage selection. So that needs to be 1, 2. Oh, so actually I need to remove the jumper that's on it. And I need to set it to 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. And that's for single voltage V-core selection at 3.3. Okay. JP4 needs to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Obviously, if you've got one of these and you're setting it up for your processor, your mileage may vary. I just want to set this up for something. And quite honestly, I think I've used the 133 megahertz processor before, so or even if I go grab a 166. All right. So JP4, short all of them. So JP5 should be open. JP5 is open. JP6 is for AT power supply, so JP6 and 7 should be on 1 and 2. Because actually I am going to use this with an AT power supply. JP7 is 1 and 2. JP6 is 1 and well, I gotta move it. JP6 is now 1 and 2. JP7 is 1 and 2. JP8 is 1 and 2. I think that's the watchdog. Okay, JP9. 1, 2, 3, 4. I may need to check that because that's for the disk on chip memory segment. JP10 is going to be 1 and 2. That's for COM2. JP11 needs to be 3, 4, 5, and 6. Oh, 3 and 5, 4 and 6. 3 and 5, 4 and 6 for 11 and 12. Okay, that is correct. Those are for setting COM. Okay, so all three of those set COM2 to RS-232. JP16 needs to be on 1 and 2. That also sets AT power supply. JP17 needs to be on 1 and 2. I may be off camera. Oh, I didn't realize I was zoomed out. Or zoomed in so far. JP17 is 1 and 2. And CN1 should be 2 and... Does it find CN1? Oh, CN1 is a connector. Oh, that could be fun. CN1. Alright, well, I'll figure that out. Oh. There it is. 2 and 4. 2 and 4 is for use internal buzzer. There we go. Excellent. Okay, so I've jumpered it to the default setting. All right. Oh, there's the cache chip right there. Yeah, so, yeah, tag RAM, and there's the cache chip. It's got it. May not be a lot of cache, but yeah, that's definitely a cache chip right there. Now, it looks like this board could have SCSI on it, and this board does not have onboard SCSI, so that's why that's unpopulated. That'd be the SCSI connectors. It also looks like this board could have onboard networking, and that is equally not populated. I have no idea where the network jack would be if it did. Okay, let me go grab a 133 megahertz processor, assuming I have one. I'm pretty sure I do. All right, let me go grab it, and I'll grab a heatsink. One moment. Well, that's a 166. Let me just use that. The 120. Probably don't want to use that one. I have a proper 133. Well, maybe I don't. All right. We'll use the 166. All right. 6 and heatsink. Heatsink. Where do I have a heatsink? All right. Okay. All right. I have a processor. I have a few spares. I have a power supply. I have a DVD drive connected to it. I do not see my Pentium heatsink. Oh, here we go. Here's one. Okay, getting a heat sink required. Now I need some memory. Here we go. Now it's possible that this board may need ECC memory. Okay, so this is actually a 166 processor, but I'm just going to underclock it. In the interest of time, I'm going to underclock it. If the board posts at 133, I can always go find the faster processor that I'd probably run in here. So I've got some RAM. It's not ECC. It is quite possible this board may not like it. Again, I want to see if it posts. There we go. I'm not going to plug the fan in on the heatsink right away. I'm just going to see if it even gives us anything on the monitor. All right. Always put the black connectors in the middle. Otherwise, your motherboard will be very unhappy, to say the least. This will be fine for the brief moment that it'll be on. If it doesn't post, it'll just mean one less thing I have to disconnect. Okay, so I got the monitor plugged in. I will leave the camera view in case something goes pop. All right. 3, 2, 1. All right, we have the LEDs on the backplane. Wait a minute. Have a beep. And I have no video. Wait a minute. Hold, please. Okay, do I have the right video cable? That was weird. There was only one beep. One beep is usually good. Alright, let's try power cycling. Do I have the wrong input? Is that card twisted or is it just you? The bracket's a little bent, but that's weird. Okay. No video. I'm getting one beep and no video. Oh, hi, Mikey. Welcome. Yes, you spy PCI. He's asking, is the board twisted? Well, that's a very good question, Jeremy. Is the board twisted? There is a twist in the board. I didn't notice that. But yes, there is a twist in the board. It's subtle, but it's there. Huh. Yeah, I don't remember which. I think this is the video cable I actually wanted. Sure enough, we get a beep. Don't worry, you're not missing anything. I've got a black screen. I mean, I'm tempted to. Alright, I'm gonna plug a. Okay, I am getting postcodes. I am getting postcodes on the PCI bus. There is no video. Alright, let me check the. Okay, I don't see any jumpers that are marked video. Well, that's. Alright, let me pull up the actual user manual. Yeah, sure enough. I'm not getting any video. Alright. We'll put a video card in it, but this is just probably going to cause a conflict because there's onboard video. Well, I probably have the wrong, we have video? Well, now we're stuck at a postcode of 32. Okay, that's with an ISA video card. Why now does it give me video? Let me guess. Coin cell battery. Did I just get tricked by this board? Is this one of those boards that like doesn't work right with a dead coin cell battery? I also need to grab a keyboard. Okay, let's take the board out. That is really weird that it took like several power cycles to get video. Alright, let me put a new battery in. Alright, old battery's out. New battery's in. Plugging it in the same exact slot. Alright, I'm going to start with plugging it in the ISA video card. Okay, so if I move the video cable to the PCI video, ow, drop the card and find a sharp point on it. Interesting. No, it's... Okay, let me put the ISA card back in. Okay, I am going to... Okay, my first conclusion is this board must really want a CMOS battery to post. And the original battery has a whopping negative 4.5 millivolts. It's dead, Jim. Okay, so conclusion number one. It needs a working CMOS battery, because maybe it finally worked because I power cycled it, or I left it on long enough for some capacitor to charge. Because there usually is a capacitor on the real-time clock circuit, so that you can swap the battery as long as you do it quick enough and you won't lose your settings. Maybe I just had to charge the capacitor enough to... Or I say nice things about the board and now it... Well... Okay, that was weird. I plug a keyboard in. And I bumped something and it stopped booting. Alright. 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 Christian says that's not only a dead battery, that's a dead battery dying in reverse. Yeah. All right. Well, that all looks good there. BIOS features disabled, enabled, enabled, disabled boot sequence. About CD-ROM. All right, that'll work. All right, well, that all looks good. Auto timing enabled. Okay, that's probably all fine. Power management disabled. No plug and play. Integrated peripherals. Okay, that's all fine. Okay, that's probably all fine. Save and exit setup. There we go. Jeremy says zombie battery. Yeah. Okay, so no onboard video. That's annoying. Let me see if there's anything on in the manual about disabling the onboard video. Oh, configuration of the VGA interface is done via the software utility. Wait a minute. Was there a... Okay, that wouldn't be a chipset feature. Well, Jeremy, that chip is maybe better than what I have on hand. I really intended this to be for DOS, so... Well, I sure don't see a video setting. Well, I kind of bought this to have a... Well, I bought this to be a working card. Alright. Maybe is the onboard graphics now working now that I got a working... I don't know, Jeremy. The manual just says CN13 onboard SBC 8155 is a connector supporting CRT VGA panel displays. CN13 is a standard 15-pin header connector commonly used for CRT VGA display. Configuration of the VGA interface is done via the software utility and no jumper setting is required. See Appendix B for the pin assignment of CN13. I think it's saying that you can install the drivers from the CD. I don't see anything that seems to indicate that you can actually disable it. All right, let me go to Appendix B to see if maybe Appendix B mentions something that is missing elsewhere. CN13 is the 15-pin VGA connector. So course, my concern is if the VGA is not working, does that mean other things are also not working? Oh, cool! This board can have a AMD K6 2 and 3 processors, the 66 megahertz bus versions. That's nice. Okay, I'm looking at the jumpers, and none of them appear to do anything to the video. Bummer. Yeah, the onboard graphics are definitely not working. Of course, first of all, I'm feeling really bad because we are going to run out of time before being able to play any games on this board. Second of all, why is this board was supposed to be working and well, I guess I'm going to have to plug in Alright, I guess I'm going to have to plug in some Okay, let me see if I can find a PCI graphics card. I did Thomas, I did try a Trident card. It's an ISA Trident card. I don't Despite rumors to the contrary, I don't keep like Trident cards stacked onto my workbench because I do actually have to have room to actually do actual work on it. The Trident cards ultimately go in the same box that other things are stored in as well, so I can't promise you that I'll find a Trident card first. I can't promise you I'll find a PCI Trident card first, because there's a Visa Local Bus Trident card. Christian, I don't know if it's one of those cards that refuses to enable its output if it can't detect it. It's a... I mean, I think it... I don't... I think it should be able to detect the resolution of the monitor. It's a rather late Cirrus Logic PCI 2D chip. All right. Well, it turns out I have. Turns out I'm a klutz. Turns out HP makes a flux-resistant keyboard. I was for sure that that fell on the floor in a way to break it, but well, apparently not yet. All right. All right, so there we go. Trident PCI video card. And I'll have to find my GoTech so I can plug a floppy drive in. Now, I do have a Cirrus Logic PCI card that matches the one that's on the single board computer. Theoretically, it should behave like the one on the single board computer. Although, I'm not sure if it's in working condition. Alright, let's see if I can find the GoTech so we can boot a floppy disk. Unless I can find compact flash card adapter. Actually, Jeremy, that IPC case, if it was the beige one that I had on my bench earlier today, there is no 5 1/4 inch drive bay on it. It would be very hard to install that drive on it because the case is almost too narrow. It's a 3 1/2 inch external drive bay. I bought it because it was a beige case, not because it could take a 5 1/4 inch drive, because it can't. Alright, I'm trying to find one of my compact flash card adapters. There's a real floppy drive. What did I have the GoTech on? I don't know what I had the GoTech on. Alright, unfortunately, I have a tendency to misplace the little adapters like the one I'm looking for. Misplace or put in the wrong box. Like, there we go. There's one right there. Did it belong in the box it was sitting in? No, of course not. Did I apparently jam it in the box at some point anyways? Yes, of course I did. Alright, I don't know if that's primary or secondary IDE at this point because I know it's getting late. I just want to see it boot something. I think this card is bootable. I actually don't know if it is. If it's not, I can probably find one that's bootable. Alright. Hey, Quicksilver. AUS, welcome. Well, the problem is, Quicksilver, there's not a separate ROM for the graphics card, and there are no archived BIOSes on the retro web for this board. So if BitRot has destroyed the VGA BIOS for this card, it could be more difficult to repair. Also, I forgot to plug the keyboard in. I mean, I can try to read off the BIOS that's on the board to see what we get. I mean, it's also possible that if it's very apparent where the VGA BIOS is, I could use the one that's on the card I have beside me that's the same chip. Maybe. Did not want to boot Windows 98. But looks like I am anyways. Well, you're not going to find a mouse Windows 98. In fact, you're probably going to be very angry over everything. Oh, and you can't see a single thing. Yeah, apparently this compact flash card has Windows 98 on it. This is not going to go well. Unless this happened to be installed on a board that has the same chipset, which is possible. Looking at what board it was on. Which might mean that most everything's using the same driver and we may get very lucky here. But I can tell you this, I was not intending to boot Windows 98, that's for sure. Also, I don't have the adapter handy to be able to plug a mouse in, so... How is it? It is... Oh, 18 till. Actually, I think... Now that I look at the board that I had this compact flash card sitting on top of, it might have been a TX chipset, so... it might have been a happy little accident that it actually worked. Because, in reality, Windows 98... Vortex DOS audio driver. Good night, Dave. Well, okay. Normally, Windows 98 does not like it when you completely change the entire computer from out from under it. However, it would appear as if I might have gotten lucky because I think this was installed on a board that had a TX chipset on it. And quite possibly the same multi-IO controller chip. That usually doesn't happen. But sure enough... Yeah. So the only thing it doesn't have is the sound card I had in it. Well, that was definitely a happy accident. Yeah, this was the... Oh yeah, this was the install where I was testing the Vortex sound card. Do I know where that is? not quite the sound card I had intended to put in here, but all right, fine. Let me go grab the sound card that I already have the drivers installed on this for. I think I see it. That's right. Oh, not that one. Not that one. I'm just looking at the motherboard. Yeah, that was. Okay, I usually don't manage to pull that off. Here it is. Here's the sound card that this Windows install has drivers for. Now, granted, this is probably not the sound card I would have targeted for this build, but it does have the benefit of the drivers are already installed, so I should just be able to plug speakers in and Bob's your uncle. Unless Bob isn't your uncle, then Bob's not your uncle. But maybe Bob is your uncle, so Bob's your uncle. So, yeah, apparently this card was in I had installed Windows 98 on an A-open motherboard, and what I didn't realize when I grabbed it was A, it was a Windows 98 install, and B, it is a TX chipset motherboard with a WinBond multi-IO controller. So, like, the same one on the single board computer. That usually never happens when I grab a random card. Jeremy says, Bob isn't my uncle, but Rob is. That's okay, Jeremy. Mikey says, only Microsoft Bob. Yeah. Yeah. That's embarrassing. System boot failure. Did I bump the... That's weird. Why no happy computer? Well, okay, I could maybe plug the fan in now that I know that, like, it's working. There we go. Or do we have a resource conflict, maybe? Maybe I bumped something slightly? I don't know. Also, I just realized I don't have plug and play OS and turned on the... Please plug in the disk that... Oh. I don't have the driver. I don't have a way to plug... Well, theoretically it was a good idea, but apparently it needs to reinstall drivers. And I don't have an optical drive, and I don't know where I had the drivers. Cancel! Thanks, Jeremy. Oh, wow, I wish I'd seen that before I canceled. Well, I guess if I reboot, it'll give me the opportunity again. Well, I think it's trying to reinstall the drivers, though. I should probably turn plug and play on and try it again. I might actually have the drivers in the temp folder if I can get to Windows to check it. Okay, tell me how that works if I didn't install drivers. They were already installed. Obviously, we have sound because I just heard the startup sound. Obviously, Windows 98's not happy about something, but oh, Windows 98 ever happy about everything? Okay, it probably doesn't like the fact that I only have like some really small amount of RAM on this board because it's what I was able to find quickly. It's also possible that I don't know where my bag of RAM is. This board's just going to have to make do with this amount of RAM because it's about time to end the stream. Oh, and right there's the audio drivers that. Come on, Windows. Did I really only put like. Yeah, I only gave it 8 megs of RAM. Alright, let me see if I can find that bag of RAM. Maybe I can give it a little bit of extra RAM. Is that it? There it is. Okay. Uh-oh. That's... Okay, here we go. I know it's happier with 16. I gave it the RAM I had. Sometimes you have to you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. Or whatever the statement is that rhymes. It got what I had and well, it's throwing a fit. Therefore, I'm going to punish it with a little bit of extra RAM. I didn't know the board was going to post. I didn't know that this had Windows 98 installed on the compact flash card. I didn't know that I would need more RAM. For DOS, 8 megabytes would have been more than enough. Well, this late at night, this board's going to get what I have, and it is mix or match, so it's just going to have to suck it up and deal with it. And I think my compact flash card is... Well, that's not good. Did I bump? Alright, did I bump the compact flash card? Is my compact flash card maybe failing? Is maybe whatever's causing the onboard video to not work on this board maybe also affecting the multi-IO controller? Sure enough. Well, it's being an ungrateful little single board computer because now my compact flash card's not detecting. Like, at all. I'm thinking that the reason it was running poorly was not related to the RAM. I'm afraid that my compact flash card might actually be failing. Although, granted, Windows 98 will run better with 40 megabytes of RAM, to Jeremy's point. Okay, it sees the sound card. To Quicksilver's point, well, I grabbed the first two matching sims I found in my bag, and they're probably EDO, and the other two are probably fast page, and I suspect I mixed and matched access times, too. Well, that... Oh, that's much better. Maybe it was RAM. Although I'm still bugged by the fact that the compact flash card is, like, decided to not detect several times. Well, we do have DOS bench on here. Oh, we do have Doom on here. Oh, yeah, there's sound. It's just quiet. Well, I don't know why I haven't found any enemies yet. Oh, that must not be a door. Okay. I'm not really good at this game. That's a door. Okay, so... Yeah, there's no way to jump, that's for sure. So, Doom works. And I guess we'll check hardware info. And sure enough, it sees the Trident card. As I expected. Yeah, okay, we'll run 2 benchmarks here. And then... maybe I'll pull the BIOS chip real quick and read it to close out the stream. So we'll run the Doom benchmark. Naturally, because we need to see how well this will play Doom. Now, granted, this is just a 133 megahertz processor, so there's some upside to be had. Kind of bummed the onboard graphics didn't work, but 2134 game ticks and 1578 real ticks. Probably not shabby for a 133. And we'll run the quick tab demo. Not too, doesn't look like it's going to be too shabby of a performance. Granted, Quake runs better with actual Intel Pentiums than, because it relies on the FPU, so not surprised it'll do well with 133 megahertz. Definitely looks like the frame rate is in the playable rate, 24.9 frames per second. Cool. All I need is a Banshee PCI or a Voodoo 1 or 2. Yeah, if only. Does this board have console redirection to the serial port? If it does, you could hook that up and see if it finds the onboard video. I didn't see that in the manual, so if it does, it was not clearly documented in the manual. All right. So now that we've seen that my single board computer does work, mostly the onboard video doesn't, but at least all the other I/O on it that I've tested does work. So maybe there's a... I don't know. Maybe I will find a less sinister reason that the onboard graphics doesn't work. But let's pull the chip and see if maybe by chance we can read something off of it. I mean, I know we're going to read the system BIOS. That I'm not in the least bit worried that we're not going to read that. But the question is, do we see anything that looks like a VGA BIOS? Because there is not another socket that I think a BIOS chip would go in. The empty socket you see is 29EE020. Good thing I checked that. Because this socket here is for a disk-on module. Also, this ROM chip that's in the single board computer is a 29EE020, which tells me that it is, well, a larger image than I would expect. All right, so I see the award BIOS in it. But actually, I can't tell if that's the VGA BIOS or the system BIOS. Oh, that may be the VGA BIOS. And then I think at the halfway point in the chip, there's the other BIOS. Okay, so let me save this as a, we'll call this a SBC 8155 Rev A2 BIOS. All right, so I got the BIOS image. I am going to Discord. I'm going to the RetroWeb Discord. I'm going to the ROM check thread. And I am going to run the trying to remember which command it is. I think I want the, let me just run the exclamation mark B command. Let's see what it says about the BIOS. So it's telling me that, oh, here we go. Okay, so according to the RetroWeb, analyzing the BIOS image I just read out of it, it's an Award 4.51 PG BIOS. Sign-on string is SBC 8155 version A21.11.12. Metadata. Yeah, okay, so it's Word BIOS. And it's telling me that there are two ROMs in the image. One is the Cirrus Logic GD5446 ROM. And the other one is the Adaptec AIC 7880U ROM. Let me see. Okay, let me run a check on that BIOS. Because I think that'll actually run the checksum on it. Oh, no, that's just telling me that it's not been uploaded. Okay, so that BIOS is not on the retro web. Okay, and let me run one more command. I see they might have added one. Exclamation mark PCI. And let me see if that tells me anything about the PCI option ROMs in the BIOS. Oh, interesting. Oh, okay. I don't think it handled it correctly because it's it has multiple BIOS images in it. There's also a program called Modbin. Well, it's too late to um um considering I can't type Modbin. I don't know what Modbin would get me at the moment. Anyways, all right. So I guess the summary is the single board computer does work, although let me put the ROM chip back in the board before I forget. And then in some silly move, put it in the wrong socket. Because the disk on module socket looks like the ROM socket. Alright, so now if I were to power this board up again, I just want to check. So theoretically, that should have... Alright, there we go. I did not do anything to permanently damage it. Also, I do usually like to take a picture of the post screen for when I submit the BIOS to the RetroWeb. It's not detecting the compact flash card now. Very interesting. I am... my email address is on my YouTube About page, so... I think I did find Modbin on the Internet Archive, but I don't know if it's the right version. Anyways, this is where I'm going to... Yeah, this is where I'm going to have to stop for tonight, because I am not sure what is going on with this board. Its onboard video doesn't work, and my compact flash card is not detected half the time, which, coupled with the fact that there is an apparent slight warp in the board, as Jeremy put it, perplexing. So, is my compact flash card going bad? Which is possible. Thomas Armstrong says, good stream. I bet it's a jumper. Alright, cool, Quicksilver. Well, if it's a jumper, it's not documented because the manual doesn't say anything about video jumpers or IDE jumpers. Anyways, okay, could my compact flash card be going bad? Sure, it could be. Entirely possible. I don't have time to try to set up another one tonight to confirm or deny that theory. Looks like I'll be coming back to the industrial computer sooner rather than later. So yeah, it could be my compact flash card. But it could be this single board computer because something's causing the onboard video to not work at all. and I'm not convinced it's bit rot in the BIOS, preventing it from initializing. Could the warp in the board be there from the get-go? Sure. I mean, it's possible that when they manufactured this board, it had a slight warp in it, and maybe it's nothing. It could have gotten warped in shipping when it came from, I want to say Malaysia is where the board came from. I'm trying to remember where it came from. I didn't pay much for it. And they certainly didn't pack it and ship it very well, because they bent the bracket to make it fit the mailer. I mean, there was enough padding around it that I didn't think it got crushed, but could it have gotten warped? Yeah, possibly. So anyways, I don't know. That's kind of a mystery I'll have to solve later. If it's my compact flash card, or maybe this single board computer is actually has a, if maybe as it warms up, the IDE is not making contact. Could there be a cold solder joint on the IDE connector? Maybe. Could there be cold solder joints on chips that I can't repair? Well, yeah. It is entirely possible that yeah, as Jeremy said, we'll just shove it in a box and send it. Although, Jeremy, that's being generous. I think it came in a padded envelope. I think it came in a padded mail. I think it came in a padded FedEx mailer. Or a padded DHL mailer. I can't remember if they used DHL or FedEx. But yeah, it came in a padded bubble mailer with a little extra bubble wrap and some foam. Yeah, a bubble mailer, not a box. I don't remember why I didn't feature it on Wheel of Regrets. Although maybe I did, and it was just a while ago. Oh, hey, Jack, welcome. Yeah, my single board computer is the one I tried to use tonight's perplexing me. Unfortunately, I'm about to end the stream. And Jeremy says, freaking cheapskates. Yeah, they, yeah. To their credit, I think it was free shipping. But still, if I'd known how bad they were going to pack it, I might have said, here, can I pay you a little extra to actually ship it in a box? Oh, alright, Jack, yeah. Yep. So anyways, this single board computer is probably going to come back on the bench at some point, because I gotta figure out... Oh, well, I can't show it on the face camera because I'm tethered. The onboard video, there's something wrong with it, but the compact flash cards sometimes doesn't detect, and, well, anyways, I guess for anyone wondering if the card has a warp in it, well, it, from this side, the warp doesn't look as bad as from this side, but yeah, there you go. There definitely is a warp in the board. So, what's that huge edge connector on the single board computer? Oh, this edge connector? Oh, this is where it plugs into the backplane. So that's the ISA, and that's the PCI connector. So yeah, this is a so if anyone's wondering, this is actually a let me see if I can I'm looking for a cheat sheet here. I think it's PICMG or PCIMG or PICMG. Oh, PICMG, PICMG. Yeah. It's a standard. So this is a PICMG single board computer, and I don't remember what that stands for right offhand, but I think I've got it in the video description. So anyways, yeah, this is actually the literal ISA bus connector and the literal PCI bus connector, and on the backplane I have, it's basically a passive. So yeah, this basically, yeah, it's actually not a I basically the backplane I used tonight, it's a passive backplane, so it just routes the signals between slots. Now I believe on the PCI slots it does. There's some like something that PCI does to change which interrupts go to which pins on which slots, but that's I think a passive activity on the PCI bus. Anyways, yeah, it's passive backplane. It's simple, but Jeremy says, if there was a hot summer day left this year, I would have suggested leaving it in a hot car on a perfectly flat surface to unwarp that card. Well, I don't know how well that would work because I don't know where the warp came from. Yeah, I'm still going, but I'm about to stop because I didn't sleep well last night because it was raining that hard. Actually, it's not a big backplane board. It's actually a little backplane board that didn't fit the enclosure I bought. Because yay for placing the order for Mauser before the enclosure came so that I could have everything in time. But yeah, it's actually, I tried to use just a little backplane board because this was $70 brand new from Mauser, and all the small backplanes on eBay used are like more than $70. Plus, I already had to place an order with Mauser anyways, so they did charge me a little extra for shipping because I think I might have exceeded the. I think because of the size of this, they like bumped ground shipping to like $9.99 instead of $7.99 just because it's not a probably just because the fact they knew by ordering that they had to use a bigger box, but other than that, Jack says, or stick it in the ultrasonic cleaner for 60 minutes per side. The ultrasonic cleaner doesn't get that hot. Anyways, yeah, we'll probably have some more fun with single board computers and backplanes. Maybe I can find one that actually fits that chassis. Toaster oven, yeah. I don't know if the warp is causing the problem. Further research is required. But anyways, yeah. I do know that the board, I guess I will declare that it's at least partially functional. That's probably about as far as generous as I'm going to be right now. So, anyways, maybe I won't make this a socket 7 single board computer because I don't know that this. I'm kind of concerned about its reliability, but remember, I have 2 Pentium 3 single board computers. It's always possible that I put one of them in the enclosure instead. I just thought I'd start with this one because I hadn't tested it yet. So, anyways, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe and turn on notifications so you know when I go live next, which will be Tuesday. So I probably will stream twice next week. I have some things I'd like to try to do next week. So Tuesdays for sure. Thursday is a maybe. Well, since Dave is streaming normal time Sunday, I should be on Dave's stream Sunday. Where he shifted his hours this past Sunday, it threw me off. It's kind of one of those. He started like, I don't remember exactly what time he started, but it was close to the time I'd be calling family anyways. And then I had to do laundry, so yeah, the shifted hours threw me off. And then the week before I wasn't feeling well, so I should be on Dave's stream Sunday. I'm at least going to try to make it. And then at least one stream next week, maybe two. It depends on if I convince myself to do some work I'd like to do down in the basement Thursday night. If I do that, then I won't stream. I don't know what I'll stream about yet on Tuesday. I haven't decided. I'm trying to figure out if I have any way of getting some flat sockets for computer. Because I think the keyboard problem is the keyboard is not making a good connection because the sockets I used have a lip. Unfortunately, I'm having trouble finding flat sockets. Because it seems like they all have lips these days. So anyways, I'll figure out what I've got to work on. I have a number of motherboards that I've bought that I haven't had a chance to look at. So, and that does include some sound cards I've bought that I haven't had a chance to look at. So, I don't know. We may have a PC stream on Tuesday just so I can finally test some of these boards I bought that I haven't had a chance to test yet. So, we'll see what I come up with when I create the schedule for next week. So, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so when I do figure out what I'm going to stream about, you'll see it on your subscription feed and maybe even know when I go live. And with that, I am going to go ahead and end the stream here before it gets too much later. Hopefully I can get enough sleep tonight to feel like working tomorrow, because I do have to go to work. So anyways, I hope to see you all here next time. Take care and God bless. Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon, and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. Don't forget to smash that like button. And if you've liked what you've seen, subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss the next video or live stream. And as always, thank you for all your support. I hope to see you next time. And until then, take care.